Well, hello. Well, hello. Well, hello. Howdy, everybody. Sounds like my ears are on, but I can't. There we go. Now I can hear myself. How you doing today? So give me just a moment here. I have to swap a couple cables out after the intro, and then we'll actually get the show started. But hopefully everybody's doing fine today. This is going to be this test that I've set up here is kind of stressing me out a little bit because there are so many things that could go wrong. But I think it's all going to work out fine. I've got all my switching. I think it's all going to be great. Let's see. I don't need this. Let's get this out of the way. That Mac has come back up online. Excellent. We have quite the variety of views here that we're going to be looking at today. So fingers crossed that everything works. How y'all doing today? Greetings, everybody watching on the train home, watching from the UK. Excellent. I love that. The audience is global. It's all over the place. This is so much fun. So with that said, let's see here. Just quick reminder, I will do, okay, normally in a normal live show, I would do the Q&A at the end. I will still do that, I guess time permitting. Yeah, no, I have plenty of time, so I will do that. But also because there are going to be a couple of times where we're just sitting waiting for copies to finish, then I will do some Q&A then as well. During that time, I'm not going to bring the Q&A up on screen, just because I want to make sure that we don't, lose. Like I'm not paying attention to a copy finishes. I'm like, switching back. So I will leave the copy up on screen. Most of the copies should be fairly quick. There are a few of them that are going to be a bit longer, so we'll have a little bit more downtime in there. And then we'll do the Q&A at the end as usual. So with that all said, I should say this. If you are not watching this live, so okay, you're obviously watching this live, but people later will be watching this not live. I'm going to release an edited version of this. We'll link to that here, down there. And if when I do this, nothing happens, it's because it's not ready yet. So I will get that out as quickly as possible, because obviously the times that we're waiting for copies to finish, nobody really wants to sit around and watch that if they're not watching it live. So I totally get it. The edited version will get up as quickly as possible. In the meantime, though, we're just going to get started here, shall we? So with that said, let's get my intro ready. Let's get this thing queued up. Whew. I think we're good. Well, let me turn off Do Not Disturb here. Make sure this is on. Wake up. I was going to, yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to turn off, because I don't have to keep picking this up and making it wake up. Turn off, where's the display settings, and auto lock never. Excellent. Hopefully it doesn't chew through my entire battery. And stopwatch, which we are going to need repeatedly today, is in place. Greetings, everybody who has just tuned in. It's good to see you all. Okay. Let's get this thing started, shall we? Let's see, I'll use these two as my little props. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the difference between V90 and V60 cards. How much faster is one over the other, and is it worth it? Greetings, everybody. So today we're going to find out just how much faster a V90 over a V60 is and whether it's worth it to you. And this is going to be a question that only you will be able to answer based off of the results of today's tests. We're going to be doing a bunch of different tests, both read and write tests. And in fact, this video that I'm doing is kind of picking up on the F-Stoppers video from earlier in the year that Lee did, where he compared older SanDisk, I believe they were V30 cards, to the top-of-the-line, latest and greatest ProGrade V90 cards. And that was a huge difference, and he was super blown away by the differences there. He was also comparing the card readers, which he was really blown away by. If you haven't seen that F-Stoppers video, definitely watch it. I'll link to it down below. It's totally worth watching, especially if you believe that card readers are all made equal. Definitely good for that. But in general, he compared those really slower, lower grade cards to the super, super high-end cards. And then at the very end of it, he said, oh, by the way, so these V90 cards are a lot more expensive than these older cards. But hey, there's also V60 cards from ProGrade, which aren't quite as expensive. In fact, they're only a little bit more expensive than the cheap old slow cards. But he didn't do any speed tests with those. And so that's what I want to do. I want to compare the V60 to the V90. And also in his test, he was doing write tests from the computer, copying files to the disk, which is a totally legit, let's get a actual numeric, megabit per second copy speed. Great, but of course no one ever uses cards that way. We use cards in the cameras. And so my write tests today are going to be done in camera. Now the tests today are not just for video shooters. This is to show where you might want to use these faster cards even if you are a still shooter. And I think you'll be surprised at both how much quicker, well, I hope you'll be surprised. I hope I'm going to be surprised. We're doing these tests together live, at how much quicker clearing the buffer is from your stills camera into a V60 versus V90 card, and how much faster it is to copy the files from the V90 versus the V60 onto the computer. So those are the kind of things we're doing today. Now, a couple other bits of housekeeping here. Today's video is not sponsored. No one's paying me to do this. No one's paying me to say that. With all of this said, ProGrade did send all the gear out. I've got a whole bunch of ProGrade cards in here. I did not go out and buy all of these, so they have sent these over here for me to run the test off of. That said, I'm not here to say that whether it's good or bad. We're just looking at numbers here, so it doesn't really matter if you believe that it's sponsored or not. We are just comparing the numbers, the raw numbers off there. And just to prove that it's not sponsored, this is the competition right here. Pretty much the only legitimate competition out there right now. These are the cards from Angelbird. I've talked about these on the show before. Excellent cards as well. So you really have two very, very good manufacturers making two very good high-end cards that you may want to consider today. So that said, the other reason that I'm doing this card, I guess the reason that I'm doing this video right now as opposed to some other time, is because it's July. It's July of 2019, and during this month, ProGrade is having a sale. It's a very nice sale. It's a 25% off sale. The discount code for that is down below. It is July 25 off. Very simple, but there's the link down below that you need to use. Click that link, use the July 25 off code, and you'll get 25% off of your purchase, only July 2019. It's also worth mentioning that if you are buying multiple cards, they sell bundles of 2 cards, and those are already discounted. So if you're buying 2 cards, they're already discounted, then you get the 25 off of that as well off of that. So all pretty cool. If you're watching this after July, then try the code PhotoJoseph 10. That should get you 10% off. So not quite as good, but still better than a poke in the eye, as they say. All right, so let's see here. Anything else on there? All right, let's get into the numbers. Let's talk about what this V60 versus V90 actually means. The number V, the letter V in front of the number stands for video. It's V for video. And the reason that it's important for video is because video needs sustained write speeds. See, most of the numbers that you see on a card are peak speeds. It could be as fast as 200 megabit per second or something, 200 megabytes per second. It could be as fast as, but it's not always going to be that fast. So if you were watching the numbers on a computer and you copy something over, you might see it spike and then drop back down again. And that's fine for copying files off of a card. It's fine to a degree for writing to the card when you're shooting stills, because the picture is taken, the picture goes into the camera's buffer, the RAM, if you will, and it's safe there. And then from there, it's written to the card as quickly as it possibly can. Video, on the other hand, not so good. In video, if you're shooting on a card that is not fast enough sustained, then the write will fail and your video will fail, and you'll get a little message that says card not fast enough. So definitely not good. So you need cards that are fast enough sustained for video. So most of the numbers you see are peak. The V number is a sustained speed. That is a sustained speed, is also could be seen as a minimum speed. Makes sense either way, right? It's the minimum speed that it could be writing at is this. So as long as it doesn't go any lower than that, you're safe. And there you go. So the two numbers, V60 and V90, stands for megabytes per second, not megabit. Megabit is usually what you see in the camera, so it does get a little bit confusing. Do a little simple math there. But a V60 is 60 megabytes per second. The GH5's highest capacity, highest bit rate shooting shoots to 400 megabit. That translates to 50 megabytes. Okay, 400 megabit is 50 megabytes. So 50 megabytes per second is what the camera, the GH5, is writing out. That's video. There's a little bit extra for audio as well, but it's not much. The V60 card, the lower one that we're testing today, is 60 megabytes per second. So right there, you're going, oh, well, then I don't need the V90, right? Because the V60 is already 10 megabytes more per second than I actually need. And that is true. That card is absolutely 100% fast enough. You can shoot 400 megabit all day long on that card. However, there's three reasons that you might want to consider moving to the V90. So I'll tell you what they are. The first one is because copy time. When you are copying the files back off of the card into the computer, and this is the one that I think will affect the most people, it is faster. And we're going to see just how much faster it is today. And if you're just shooting a little bit here and there, then maybe it doesn't matter. But if you're shooting card after card, if you're shooting hours of content, and those hours of content are going to take a lot of time to copy, time saved helps a lot, right? That could make a big difference in your production. It could just make a difference whether you're going to bed at midnight or at 2 in the morning. Just those faster copy times do make a big difference. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is even though at 60 megabytes per second, you have a little bit of buffer in there, you got a little bit of headroom, that is on a clean card. A clean card meaning one that was just clean formatted, not one that was just formatted in camera. See, when you format a card in camera, the format that it does is a quick format. It is basically just erasing the headers and saying the rest of the card is available to be written over, but you've got fragmented data on there, and your write times will slow down over time. That's just media. That's how it works. So it will slow down over time. And if you don't do a clean format every once in a while, then you could end up with a card that even though it is rated at V60, suddenly it's starting to go a little bit lower because the card is so fragmented, and you have to do a clean format. Now, you can do a clean format in some cameras, not very many. In fact, none of the Panasonics that I'm aware of do this. I know I've seen it in some where it says like deep format or clean format or something like that, but you can do it in your computer. It takes a long time. Like for a 64 gig card, it takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I think it took for each one of these. And incidentally, every card we're using today for today's test has had a clean wipe. That was like half of my day yesterday, was clean wiping the cards. But I want to show you how this actually works. So let me pull up my computer here. This is on the Mac, of course. This is Disk Utility, and I've got a card inserted in here. And if I go up here and I click on Erase and set this to exFAT, that's exFAT's the format that we need for the camera, and then click on Security Options. The fastest, where it's set right now, that is your standard format. This is what happens when you just hit format normally in the computer. It's what happens when you hit format in the camera, and it's just wiping the headers and saying this card is ready to be overwritten. However, if you drag this up to level 2, which is the next notch up here, it tells you here that it is going to write a pass of random data and then a single pass of zeros over the entire disk. Those zeros will really clean things out. It erases the information used to access your files and writes over the data 2 times. Incidentally, if you take this all the way up to most secure, this is a U.S. Department of Defense, DoD capable, acceptable standard for securely erasing media. It's written over 7 times. I have no idea how long that takes. I would imagine it takes a very, 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 very long time. So what I did for each one of these cards was do that level 2. And if you're on a PC, when you go to format, as far as I know, I don't have any PCs, but I was told you don't have the security, all those different options, but you do have a quick erase that you can uncheck, and then you get the deep erase on there. So you can do these erasing, do the wipe, clean wipe on your computer, but you have to do it 1 card at a time. It takes time. So with all that said, this is why you may want to consider going with the faster card. It'll be longer before you have to, if you ever have to even consider doing that, although it's still probably a good idea to do it every once in a while. The third reason is future proofing, future compatibility. Your camera today shoots 400 megabit. Maybe down the road, you're going to have a camera that shoots 600 megabit. I don't know. You know, anything could happen, right? And if you're going to spend the money on cards today, and you know that you're the kind of person who is upgrading, you are buying the latest and greatest, you're a filmmaker, whatever it is, you're going to be buying something better in the future, maybe buy the faster cards so they're kind of future-proofed a little bit. Okay, so those are the reasons to consider those different cards. Now, so those are the reasons. We've talked about the differences. I've talked about they're all clean formatted. I think we're basically ready to test. So let me show you exactly how this test is going to be run. We are going to do a series of tests. I have a little table here that we're going to be filling in, and I've pre-populated it with all the formulas, so we're going to be punching in numbers to compare them. And here is basically what we're going to do. We're going to start with stills and then move to video. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I already did the video recording. You don't need to see me record on the video. So I've already got the video recorded onto these 2 cards, a V60 and a V90. Both recorded on GH5s, both recorded at 400 megabit. And basically all I did was start and stop recording at the same time on both cameras, where I have a series of tiny files, some slightly medium-sized one, and then one really big file. So that has, the V60 and the V90 have essentially identical data on them. I didn't copy from one card to the other. Both created in camera, so essentially identical. That's already done. We've already got that data stored on there. The cards that I have laid out for still shooting I have 3 cards here. 2 of them are totally clean. 1 is already full, and we'll come to that in a moment. So the 2 that are clean is a V60 and a V90. We're going to put both of those in the camera. We're going to start the stopwatch. I'm going to press the shutter button on both of them. We're going to fire off about 65-ish frames. Basically, we're going to fill the buffer and then take the finger off and watch the write time. And so if we take a look at this setup here, we'll be able to see the read and write light in both cameras in here. And once that stops flickering, I will stop my stopwatch over here. So that's how that's going to work, and we're going to compare those times. So those are going to be the write tests that we do first. And then we're going to go into the read tests. We're going to start on my old 2015 MacBook Pro. And you're thinking, why would you do that? It's like the old tech. Who cares about old tech? Because most of us still have old tech. I really appreciate seeing tests where people are using the latest and greatest equipment, but then you go, well, that's nice. How does that apply to me? I don't have that latest and greatest equipment. Well, this is my MacBook Pro. It's a 2015. It's old. It's USB 3.0, not 3.1, and that is a big part of the difference. So we're going to do 3 tests on the MacBook Pro. The first one is going to be using the internal memory card reader, just the one that's built in. We're going to compare that to using the ProGrade USB 3.1 SD card reader. Now, it's 3.1, but we're not getting 3.1 on this MacBook. We're going to compare that with a single card copy, and then this particular reader is the new dual SD. There is, right here is one that is, it's also dual, but it's dual SD, or single SD and CFast. Same tech inside for the SDs, so in fact, I'm just going to get rid of this one entirely. We'll swap this back and forth. We're going to use the same reader for the whole time, but I'm going to copy 1 card at a time. And then we're going to copy 2 cards at once, and we're going to compare those speeds. So the reason that I already have a card here that's full of pictures is so that I have a duplicate V60 full of pictures card, so we can compare copying 2 V60s full of pictures over simultaneously versus doing them back to back. So that's the 3 tests that we're going to do on the MacBook Pro. And then we're going to move to my Mac Mini. The Mac Mini actually has the latest USB 3.1, and so we're going to do a series of tests here. And the tests that we're going to do here include copying still photos off the V90 and off the V60, copying the video off the V90 and the V60, and then we'll do the dual copy test. We're going to compare copying two V90 cards with the still and video. So one card has stills, one has videos, but they're both V90. We'll compare that, and that is going to be sitting right next to, compared to the addition of the two V90 speed times we had. So it'll be basically, that'll be the number to beat. And then we're going to do the same thing with two video cards, one that's V60, one that's V90, and we have over here the addition of the two video times to see what the numbers that we're trying to beat. So how does that sound? Sound like a good test? Whew, let's hope this all works out. Man, this is a lot. This is a lot. So with that said, I have water sitting over here somewhere. I knew I should not have left this behind. Definitely going to need this today. And try not to knock this over. Let us begin, shall we? So the first test is going to be into the cameras. So I have a V60 card, again, clean formatted. Let's pop that into, which one's which here? The V60 camera. If I can find the card slot, there it is. Hard to do backwards. And the V90 card, also going to pop that into the camera. Both cameras are on, both cameras are awake. Let's go to this split view here. And because I don't have three hands, because I need to press the shutters on here and hit the stopwatch at the same time. I've set this up so that I'm going to start the stopwatch, and then when it hits 10 seconds, that's when I'm going to start shooting. I've actually built into my little formula here a place to pop in the time that it says on the stopwatch, and it will automatically deduct 10 seconds just so I don't forget, because, you know, forgetful. So we're going to, that's how we're going to compare that's how I'm going to run all that. So I'm going to press the shutter and hold it down until, I'm going to be watching the back. I'm going to see it's going to start at about 60. And it's going to count down. I'm going to shoot until I hear it stop. I'm going to try and get my finger off the shutter right away. We might get a couple extra clicks in there, but we should have almost identical number of frames on each card at that point, and then we're going to watch the timing. So with that said, let us get begin, shall we? Excuse me. All right, so again, starting that, when that hits 10, I start shooting. Okay, that worked out really well. Excellent, so we can see they're both going. I'm going to hit the lap button when the V90 button light stops flashing, and then we'll go over to the V60. So we are clearing the buffer of about 60 frames of photos. There we go, the V90 is done. And V60 is done. All right, so there we go, our lap one. Looks like I must have hit that a second time, is it 6 seconds, but lap one, 29 seconds. Lap two, or the second one finished at 37, we'll call it 37 seconds. So let's go ahead and look over at the computer. Let's punch those numbers in. So the stopwatch says for the V90, it's at 29.93, so we're going to call that 30 seconds. It is going to deduct that 10 seconds for me, so it was 20 total. And the V60 was 37. We're going to call it 37 seconds. So we go 37 seconds there, punch that in. So that was a 27-second total. Let me see how many frames were actually fired on these two. So I'm going to hit play on here. That one is 66, and this one, 66 as well. Nailed it. All right, so 66 exactly on both of those, which is perfectly the exact number of files that I have on this card as well. This is going to work out perfectly. All right, back over to this. So we have 66 frames fired. Let me punch that number in there. And this is just kind of for fun. I did this, 66 frames fired. So the V90 is shooting and clearing the buffer at 300 milliseconds, the V60 at about 400 milliseconds. And the difference there is a 7-second difference between the two, which is a 26% difference. So 26% faster. That's the big thing right there. That's what you want to look at. It's 7 seconds, whoop-de-doo, but that's shooting that many. 26% faster. So 26% faster clearing the buffer on the V90 versus the V60. And I'm sure that math adds up if you actually do the numeric math on there, but that's pretty good, right? That's good to know. Okay, so that's good. So if you're shooting fast action sports, then this could be the difference between getting the shot and not getting the shot, right? If you are filling the buffer, if you're shooting so many frames that you're filling the buffer, we've all had this before. You're shooting high frame rate, and suddenly it slows down, and your camera's like, wait, and you gotta wait, and you gotta wait for the buffer to clear, right? And then you can get a couple more frames off. If during that waiting time, the action happens and you miss it, that's not good. So makes a difference there, right? So there's our two right tests. So let me get these cards out of here. Now that that is done, so let's see, making sure I put these in the right place. There's my V90 and my V60. Excellent. So now let's do some copy. So the first copy, comparing the internal reader to the external reader, we're just going to do with the V60. So let's pop that into the computer, get rid of this other card that I was testing with earlier. And looking at the computer, I'm going to pop in that first card. In fact, let's go ahead and bring up the stopwatch on there as well. Okay, we'll just reset that. So we're going to, again, I'm on the internal reader right now. We're going to copy these 66 files. So I'm going to drag and drop these onto here, hit the stopwatch at the same time, and ready, set, go. And let's see what we get. People talking about the most silence they've ever heard in a live stream is those 5 seconds of dead air while I'm waiting for the copy to finish. You're right, Aaron, that probably is. But I know I'm going to edit all this out, so I don't want to say anything important. But I know it does make for a lot of dead air, doesn't it? Ah, terrible. All right. Waiting, almost there. It's getting there. It's getting closer. Estimating time remaining. It's not even estimating it. And stop. 35.35 seconds. We're going to call it 36. We'll just round up just because. And so we go over to here, and let's see here. Internal SD card reader. We're going to call that 36 seconds. And there was that time. Okay. So now I want to pop that card out. Eject that card. I'm going to select everything that was in the copy folder, drop that in the trash, and empty the trash. Excellent. Now we're going to take that card out, put that into the dual reader. So now, again, worth pointing out, because this is USB 3.0, this is a Type A connector, so this is a Type C to Type A. These readers, by the way, come with both C to A and C to C. So I will plug this guy into here, and there we go, it's mounted up. Let's go ahead and let's bring up the stopwatch again, open this card, and we know we have 66 files again, same number of files. Select those, these are going to copy over, and reset the stopwatch, and ready, set, go. It would be interesting because they are both USB 3. So I don't necessarily know that this one's going to be any faster, but it'd be nice to know if it's worth carrying around an external card reader versus just using the internal reader on the computer. And it does look like it's going to beat it. 21.39, we'll call that 22 seconds. So back to the computer. That's a significant difference in there, isn't it? 22 seconds. That was 14 seconds, is 38%, 40% faster, 39% faster. That's actually more than I expected that to be. So that, I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, because again, it is all USB 3.0 bus. There you go. I guess the reader is actually kind of good. Okay, so there's that. We've got that speed. Now I want to check copying dual cards simultaneously. So if you have one card, then that means that you're, or one card reader, that means to copy two cards. Obviously, you copy one, eject it, pop the other one, copy that. So you have to, you have to wait for that. So we want to see what happens using the dual card, whether we get a significant speed difference using that, using the dual card reader. So let's delete everything again in here, delete all of that. I will, actually I don't need to eject that card because I've already got the dual reader in here. So I've got that card there with 66 files. I'm going to now pop in the card that I made earlier. So this is another V60 that also has exactly 66 files on it. Can't believe that worked out that well. So that's in there. And there we go. That is now open. Let's get this one up here. And there's those. So the way I'm going to do this is I will select all of those, select all of these. I'm going to drag these on and start the stopwatch. Let's start that. And as quickly as I can, I'm going to, after I drop these, I'm going to reach up here and grab those pictures. Okay? Makes sense? Makes sense. Good. Ready, set, go. And copy those as well. Okay, so now we're copying 2 cards worth of data. And get this finger ready on the stopwatch. First one, second one done. 17, we'll call it 18 seconds. Let's go back to the computer, and where were we? Dual, so we had a total of 18 seconds. Now it does look like, this is interesting, because I did do some tests beforehand, and I didn't see this much of a change between them, but it looks like we are gaining a little bit of speed, possibly because of something in the cache still on the copy. there's a certain amount of data cache in your hard drive that it may have cached some of this, even though I emptied the trash. And this is something that Lee ran into on his test, but his copy was essentially instant when he ran into that. So he clearly had a different setup on mine. When I ran my test earlier, I wasn't seeing quite this much of a difference, but we are still clearly seeing a little bit of a difference in there. With that said, we still copied all of that data in just 18 seconds, where the time to copy both of them was, well, total of 54, and I got to that number by adding this one twice, duplicating that to 44, and then adding in another 10 seconds for time to swap out the card. So even if this was a full 22 seconds, what we're seeing here is, and we are going to, just a little spoiler alert, we are going to see this consistently throughout, we are seeing that the fact that we're copying off of 2 cards at once is essentially irrelevant. You're essentially getting the same copy time as if you had 1 card versus 2. So pretty good in there. Again, a little bit of a cheat in there because I believe of the previous copy. The only way to fully clear this out would be to completely restart the machine between each one of these. We only have so much time today, but there you go. Okay, so what have we learned off of this? We have learned that the difference between the internal reader and the external reader is noticeable, not massive. The time that it would take you to get this reader out of your bag and plug it in probably would negate the time that you would save by just copying off the internal, unless it's a really big card. If you're just doing smaller copies, it's probably not worth doing. But if you're doing bigger copies, it might be worth doing. If you're copying off dual cards, it's definitely worth doing. Not only for the copy time, but I mean for the simple fact that you put 2 cards in, copy over, and walk away. So that's certainly handy as well. Okay, so that's that. Now it's time to move over to the Mac Mini and start comparing speeds there. So let me dump these cards out of this computer. I'm going to put these 2 back into my little organized stack there. Plug this into the USB-C. So again, this is USB-C to USB-C. So this is full USB 3.1, significantly faster than USB 3.0. I don't know why they come up with these numbers like that, but there you go. And we are going to first test. Let's take a look at my test requirements here. The first test, Mac Mini USB 3.1 single copy. We're going to compare the photos. So we got 4 copies to do here. V90 photos, V60 photos, V90 video, V60 video. So let's start with the V60 still photos. All right, that said, let's go. Let's see here, V60 still photos, that's this card here. Pop that one in. Go over to the Mac Mini on there and open this up. And there's our 66 pictures. Okay, select all. Clear out the stopwatch, and ready to go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. So we're going to see how much faster, dear God. Well, I would say that's faster. Okay, 12 seconds. 12 seconds versus, what was it earlier? Let's see here, V60, that was 12 seconds. To copy that earlier was 22 seconds off of the ProGrade reader, 36 seconds off of the internal on the MacBook Pro. So we're seeing a massive speed jump between the USB 3.0 and 3.1. Pretty impressive. Okay, now let's go to the V90. Let's see here. Let me check this. And pull that out. So that's the V60 stills. Now we're going to V90 stills. And before I insert that, let me make sure I dump all of these pictures out. So out, empty the trash, and gone. And now I'll insert that 64 gig V90 card that should have the same 66 photos on it. And here we go. Open that, and there they are. Select all of that. Reset the stopwatch. 12 seconds is the time to beat. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, I'd say that's faster. let's call that 8 seconds, shall we? 8 seconds for that. So now we're over here, V90 stills 8 seconds. That is 4 seconds faster, just 33%, almost exactly. Look at it, exactly 130, 33.3% faster by going from V60 up to V90. That's pretty impressive. So again, if you're shooting tons and tons of stills, if you're somebody for whom getting the pictures off of your camera into the computer at the fastest time possible is of uttermost importance, it's worth it to go to the V90s, even if you're just shooting stills. People that come to mine are Olympic photographers. The photographers at the Olympics are on insane deadlines. I know because I have a friend who's a photographer at the Olympics, and every year the requirements get more and more strict, faster and faster. His turnaround time is just ludicrous. So every second matters getting the pictures from the card onto the computer. That's pretty good. All right, let's switch over to video. Now, these copies are going to take a little bit longer because there is a lot of data on these cards, but I wanted it to be a realistic video test. So I'm going to delete everything that I just copied, empty the trash on there, eject out that V90 stills card, and we're going to start with the V60 video. So again, this has a bunch of video files already on it. Let's take a look at what is on here. In this card, we have... Looks like I should have put the copy to window at the top since it always wants to open with this window at the bottom. All right, we've got here a 1.14 gig, a 200 meg, 400 meg, 230 meg, and then a 36 gig file and another 2 gig file, almost 2 gig file. So we have quite a bit of data here, so this will take a little bit to copy. So with that said, let's reset the timer, get that down, and 1, 2, 3, away we go. All right, now that one is going to go. Now while that's happening, for those of you not watching live, which would be the only people who actually hear this, or people watching live, I mean, let's take a look at what's going on in the comments in here. Now, again, I'm not going to put the comments on screen because I don't want to lose track of what's happening on the right here. You know, actually, take that back. I can do that. I can do that. I can go back to my normal routine. I'll keep an eye on it over here. All righty. Brian Gibson just got your GH5. Excellent. Excellent, Brian Gibson. Well, I hope you buy some new cards for it. That would be fantastic. Shark, I've only used SanDisk Extreme Pro 128K 300 megabit UHS-2 Class 10 U3 SDXC for my GH5, but now I use Atomos Ninja Inferno Ninja 5 memory cards are just now my backup media. There you go. Excellent. It's amazing how many numbers there are in these things, aren't there? Whiskey Throttle, love your handle. Hello, what whiskey are we drinking? Oh, right now none. It's just water, but I might change that when I get home tonight. We'll see. We'll see. I got an early flight to Seattle tomorrow morning, so maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Shark, better than where are we? The MacBook 2015 wasn't still the best. Yeah, Shark, I know, right? Because it doesn't have the ridiculous keyboard. It actually has ports on it. That's one reason why I haven't upgraded this machine. Second is I don't really need to. I don't use my laptop that much. I'd rather put my money into this. So that's my Mac Mini. They got a bunch of RAM and then the big graphics card. It's obviously not here, but the big, anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's a great machine. It's still super, super powerful. It still is. Anthony Benson, sounds good to me. In the V90 camp yourself. Excellent. Shark, Whiskey Throttle. Okay, let's see here. Aaron saying, what's amazing is that 5 seconds of dead air waiting for the timer to reach 10 was the most silence you've ever heard in this live stream. I know. I do tend to ramble, don't I? You know, I got to start saying at the beginning of every video, if I'm talking too fast, there is a speed control button here in YouTube. Although it doesn't work when you're live, but nobody complains live. I get a fair amount of comments of people saying I talk too fast. I'm like, there's a set to 0.75. It actually works really well. There are YouTubers I watch that I have to crank up the speed because I can't handle slow talking. It does my nut in. All right, what's next? That's what you guys are talking about. So format after delete, complex graphics. So remember, I'm not deleting anything off of the cards themselves. I'm only deleting what I've copied internally. So the cards do not need to be reformatted because I'm not rewriting over any of these cards ever. It is all happening. This is all now about read times. And before I wrote to the cards, before I did the test and the video recording that I did before we went live, I had done a clean wipe on those cards. So hopefully that satisfies that. Let's see here. Whiskey Throw Apple ruined the MacBook Pro after that. Yeah, it's gotten, I don't want to say ruined, but I certainly do appreciate having these ports. Shark says, I always take a portable card reader in my camera bag just in case my MacBook Pro 2015 card reader does not work. Pretty good idea. You can never be unprepared. Or you can be unprepared. You can never be over-prepared, I think is what you're looking for. Shark, make sure it has USB-C connection. Yeah, okay. So, and incidentally, USB-C, I'm going to switch over to this one just so that we don't miss out. USB-C, somebody tell me in the comments, does USB-C necessarily mean that you have USB 3.1? Or can you have USB-C that is 3.0? Please tell me in the comments. I don't know. Shark says, do you think ProGrade is better performance and reliability than SanDisk? Yes, I do believe that. The primary reason is how the company behind this, I'm not stuttering, I'm watching my timing very, very carefully here. You might remember I did an interview with Jeff Cable, who was a former executive from Lexar, And he, of all the people that I know personally, he is the one who knows memory the best. Okay, I'm going to shut up for a second. And almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there. 4 minutes and 7 seconds. 4 minutes and 7 seconds. All right, let's enter that over into here. So let's see here. We were copying V60 video. Let's grab the right trackpad here. V60 video. That is this one here. I said 4 minutes and 7 seconds. 4 minutes, 7 seconds. Excellent. So now we're going to copy off the V90 card, which should be quite a bit faster. Well, let's find out. So actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and delete all of this, empty that trash, pop out this card, and that is the V60 video card back on the table. The V90 video card is being inserted. Open that, and oops. There we go. Select all of these, get ready to copy, reset the clock, and 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so while that's going, back to what I was saying, so Jeff Cable, former executive for Lexar, personal friend of mine. He's been at Lexar for years and years and years and years and years before he left, and at that point, not because he left, but timing, Lexar got out of the memory card business. I guess they're back in it now. I really don't understand. But they left, and the guys who were kind of the executive team, or some of the executives, I'm not sure exactly who, but anyway, some people from Lexar who were in that side of the business decided to start their own company that was ProGrade. So they had the history, they've got the reputation, they got the know-how, they know how to source, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, absolutely trust them. In the past, I think one of the ways that you can look at why you would maybe trust one company more than another is to look at where their focus is. A company like SanDisk, and nothing, right? SanDisk makes great memory, right? But they make memory for basically anything that takes a card, right? You can buy down to the super slow, cheap, junky stuff up to fairly reasonably good cards. And I know they have V30s. I don't believe, and I could be wrong, so don't yell at me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe they have any V60 or V90 cards. And a big part of this is I need that V rating. If I'm going to be shooting video on these cameras, it's got to have the V rating. Plus, every card, it's kind of cool. My close-up camera is being used, but every card has a serial number on it. And when you buy, especially when you buy directly from ProGrade, they know exactly what card you've got. If you have any problems with it, they can track it to that number. If there was, let's say, some problem in manufacturing, they could track a batch to it. They can notify you. They are tracking that on a very, very high professional level. So that kind of stuff really makes me happy. Never had any problem with ProGrade cards. Granted, I've shot ProGrade less than I've shot SanDisk. SanDisk's been around forever and ever. But it comes down to things like that: reputation, trust, and just looking at what they're creating. All right, let's see here. Where are we? We're getting closer on there, so I'm going to bring this timer back up. And this looks like we probably have another minute or so. Shark saying, I would love to know why there are not 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte SD cards. It doesn't bother me as I use SSDs for shooting video, but why are there no great leaps in memory capacities? I would imagine just size. I mean, I think if getting 256 gig or 512 gig in these little cards is pretty remarkable, isn't it? And 2 minutes and 32 seconds, we're going to call that. So let's go back over to here and punch that in. 2 minutes and 32 seconds. And that is 38% faster, a minute and a half difference, 38%. So again, we're around this, let's call it an average of 35% faster to copy from the V90 than it is from the V60. So that 35%, that's the number to take home. If you think about next time you sit down to do a copy, assuming you're even using V60s, right? If you're using V30s, then you're talking massive difference, and you should definitely watch the F-Stoppers video to really see the difference in there. But even the difference between V60 and V90, that 35%, if you're going to spend an hour copying data because you have so much footage, 35% less, and that's pretty good. That's pretty significant. Okay, the last 2 tests. Now we do the dual copies. So let's get this set up again. I'm going to clear out my destination folder here, empty that trash, And what is in here now? We're going to do stills. What is my first test is V90 still plus V90 video, and then V60 video plus V90 video. So that one's going to take the longest. Let's do this one. The two V90 cards simultaneously. So is that what's in there now? That is. I got the V90 video card in there, so I'm going to take my V90 stills card. And the way I tell these apart is because the V90 stills card is a 64 gig. The video one was bigger. So let's go ahead and pop that in. And we now have both of those in there. So, oh, you go away. Stop it. There we go. Get that up. Make room for both of these windows. And all right, so just like before, what I will do is start the stopwatch with these. Let's see, let me just select all of those. We're going to start by dragging these in, and as quickly as I can, I'll reach up and grab the other one. So, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. And I lost a couple seconds there, but that's okay. Wait, did it go? Oh, stupid Mac. There it goes. Well, we definitely lost a few seconds in there. That's a little bit sucky, but I think we're still going to see a massive speed difference. Like time of that V90 that, I mean, okay, maybe this is a dumb test because the stills copy so fast that they really are not going to have an effect on the video time on there, probably at all. But we started the test, so we'll let it finish. Peter Gregg, I owe you a phone call, my friend. I am so sorry. I am utterly useless at the telephone. But thank you for coming to the live show. Let's see here. Oh, Ben 5 Shuttle, congrats on 30K subscribers. Thank you very much. That's right, I just hit 30K yesterday, I think, or day before. I am so happy. Have you heard about ProGrade digital SD cards needing to be a certain firmware for Lumix cameras? You've seen the issue race on Amazon. Yeah, that's an old story. So, yes, and it was the same with the ProGrade, with the Angelbird cards. It was the exact same thing. When the timing between, it was kind of this unfortunate series of events and timing where the GH5 was in development and both ProGrade and Angelbird were manufacturing cards and tuning them, I guess you'd say, for the GH5. They got ready to ship, the GH5 shipped, and then they realized, ooh, there was some additional tuning that needed to happen to make them work perfectly with the GH5. And so both companies did completely free replacements or upgrades or whatever it is they needed to do. But unfortunately, the unfortunate side of that is both companies got hit with some bad reviews in the early days because people bought these cards and didn't work. Now, the way that Angelbird addressed it is they released what they actually called a GH5 pack. So you could buy a pack that said GH5 on it and you knew you're getting the right ones. ProGrade didn't do that, but they were shipping the newer cards. And again, anybody who had the older firmware on them could get that updated or replaced or whatever for free. So, but that's ancient history. That literally goes back to when these cameras were first shipping. So unfortunately, bad reviews stay around forever, but that's the way of the business. So hopefully that answers that question for you. Let's see here. And everybody's saying who they hear that they watch Peter as well. Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that, guys. Okay. M-Crafty Trucker, we're just popping in. Will the V90 work on the GH5 4K 60 FPS? Absolutely, my friend. You're going to have to go back and watch the whole video to understand exactly why and how. But here we go. All right, this is almost done. So again, this test I recognize now. Now I recognize this is a bit silly of one, but that's okay. We're doing it anyway. And 2 minutes 44 seconds. Go back over to here. This was this one, 2 minutes 44 seconds versus 2 minutes and 40 seconds for the previous cards. Is that right? Oh, because it's so fast. All right, and we remember I lost a few, so we're gonna let's just like shave off like 4 seconds off of that. And now what that means, if we shave off 4 seconds for me fumbling like a fool, that we are looking at essentially identical times copying the stills off the video. That is interesting, actually. This should be faster. But it's such a fast that little tiny 8-second copy is just like not enough to actually make a difference. So, all right, so we're gonna say test there. If you're copying from one big card to one tiny card, it probably doesn't make that big of a difference. But now let's do the real test and copy 2 video cards, shall we? All right, so let's get rid of these cards, pop those out, delete everything there. And so now I need, let's see, put that one back there, put that one back there. Now I need the V60 and V90 video cards. So both video, one at V60, one at V90. Pop that in, pop that in. Last test. All righty. setup card number 1. Which one is this? That's the movie card. Setup card number 2. And that's the stills card. Okay. So, I feel like I did something wrong earlier. Hold on a second. Stills plus video. Oh, this is supposed to be both video. I'm about to do the exact same test. Good thing I checked my notes. I'm supposed to be checking both videos. So let's try this again. Both video, V60 and V90 video. So same size data on both of these. We're going to copy both of these over. And does it take the same amount of time that the slower card took? Does it take twice as much time? What does it take? Let's find out. All right. So setting this up. Again, we have, I'm glad that I realized that. And come here, you. All right, 2 videos. All right, stopwatch, reset. Let's select all of these. Oops. Select all of those. Select all of those. Get ready to copy. And 3, 2, 1, go. Quickly get up here, grab those down there too. And away we go. Okay, so those are both copying. This will take a little while, so while that's going, I'll switch back over to the comments. Jake, greetings, Jake. I have a 256 gig V60 SD and 240 gig QXD card in your S1. Okay, I never take them out, I just transfer by USB-C. Do you recommend taking out the cards to transfer? You will definitely get better speeds using this. I think, that's an interesting question. Is the S1 USB 3.0 or 3.1? Okay, so if it's 3.0, then way faster doing it this way, assuming that your Mac is 3.1. If your Mac is not a USB 3.1, then it may not make that much of a difference. In general, I haven't copied off of a camera directly in a really, really long time. I know it used to be a lot slower to copy that way. You're not hurting anything by doing it, so if you don't care about the timing, then don't worry about it. But I'm going to guess pretty heavily that it is going to be significantly faster, even if the S1 is USB 3.1, even if it is that this is still faster, just because you're talking about hardware here that is dedicated for that. That is all this hardware does. That's the kind of mentality that I have behind that. I don't have any concrete proof to that, but that's going to be my thought process on it. We could test it. We're going to add that to the test. We'll do that in the Q&A. As we get in the Q&A, I will grab my S1, pop one of these cards in, copy it over. It's a great test. We'll do it. Okay. Don't let me forget. Shark, love the real world test you're doing now. Excellent. Have you ever had a card crash on you? What recovery software? Oh, that is such a good question. It's almost like it's a leading question. Okay. I have, cross, knock, wood, bless, throw salt, slaughter a goat. I have never had a card just blatantly fail on. Actually, okay, I have, but it's always been in like non-critical. It's been testing stuff where I'm like playing with beta hardware, that sort of thing. In real world use, no. I have accidentally deleted files off of a card before. I've done that. Accidentally reformat a card. You're like, oh, that still has those pictures yeah, no. But I said that's almost a leading question because ProGrade has software for file recovery. They've been asking me to do a test on it, do a video on it. I haven't done it yet. It's something I should do one of these days. But they have software, and here's the cool thing about their software. You can download the software for a trial version of the software for free from their website, run it on the card, and you'll find out what you can recover. If it shows that you can recover what you want, then you can buy it. If it can't recover what you've lost, then you don't have to pay for it. So I think that's really, really cool that they've done that. I don't know how much the software is, and I do know because they've been telling me that they put a lot into development of the software. It is something pretty significant. So if you are using ProGrade cards, actually I don't know if their recovery software is only for ProGrade cards. I would imagine it works best with ProGrade cards, but I don't know. You have to go to the website and find out. But if you ever need it, they've got it. And you don't have to pay for it until you have confidence it will actually do the job. Excuse me. Peter Gregg, the V90. Every time I use my V60s, I am so sorry I bought them to save a few dollars. The V90 uploads so fast. That is true. Another big difference is in the reader itself. Oops. Unfortunately, the fastest reader is the Sony for you. Oh, you're on a PC. No. Do you not have USB 3.1, Peter Gregg? Do you not have USB-C with USB 3.1? All right, the first copy is finished. We're going to get ready for the second one to finish. because the ProGrade card should definitely speed up your workflow. All right, we're almost done. Peter Gregg's also saying we had a slew of cards fail across many photographers years ago. The brand was Lear. Yeah, see these off-brand cards, man, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. And almost there. Almost there. All right, 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Punch that into the clock over here. 4 minutes, 14 seconds. The time to beat was 6:39. So you can see that we have saved considerable time in there. So 4 minutes, 14 seconds. We were looking at the addition of these two. So basically, this is the test result that I alluded to in the beginning that I expected to see. The V60 took a little over 4 minutes to copy. The V90 only took 2.5 minutes to copy. The V60 and the V90 together took a little over 4 minutes to copy, which tells us that the act of copying the V90 did basically nothing to slow down the copy of the V60. We're talking a difference of 7 seconds in there between just that and both of them. So that is the result I was expecting to see. So there, my friend, this is the only kind of unexpected one, but again, given that we had only an 8-second copy, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised about that. So there we go. There are our tests. All right, folks, we are going to call that a show. Whew, that was a lot of interesting information. For those of you who are watching live, stick around for the Q&A. For those of you not watching live, we are going to do another test in the Q&A where I'm going to copy directly off of the S1, connecting that over USB-C into the Mac Mini and see what that performance is like. So if you want to know that, then click the thing right here and continue watching. Whew, all right. Alrighty, got the S1 in my hands. We're going to start off with Jake's test because I think that is a fantastic question. So I'm going to use the V90. I see. What card do you have, Jake? You said I'll use the same card that you have. We'll use the right trackpad here. I've got 3 trackpads in front of me. Jake's got V60. Okay, so we're going to test with the V60. So let's get rid of these. And what do you guys think of the test? Is that interesting, shocking, surprising, blow you away, couldn't care less? Where are you on this? Inquiring minds want to know. All right, V60, V90 video. We're going to do V60 stills. Okay, V60 still. Is this going to be enough? Should I do the video? Let's do the video. Let's do V60 video so we get a bigger delta, if there's going to be one. Because if it's like, if the V60 clocks it at 8 seconds or 7 seconds or 9 seconds, that's not enough of a difference for you to really know, since it was 8 seconds to copy it before, if I'm remembering my numbers right. Okay, so this is the V60 with video. Pop that in. Hello. Oh, there's already a card in there. Clever like that. Pop that in there. And that sure is going to be a bear to edit. You know that? All right, and USB-C. So I will use this same cable. Pop this in. I've never done this before, so I don't even know if I'm going to have to switch a mode in the camera. It's just going to mount. Is it saying something on the back? Nope, it is firing. It must have to go into, you have to switch modes? Oh wait, nope, it's thinking. Nope. Please wait. Well, right there, I can already tell you that I'm done waiting for this, and I just, oh, probably the cable wasn't plugged in all the way. That helps. Just keeps saying, please wait. That's weird. I haven't, let me look at the USB settings on here because that might be something that has to be changed. So let's see here, and I can, let's see if I can't, you won't be able to see that if I swap this over. Okay, you're just gonna have to trust me on this. I'm going to, let's see here. I have no idea where this is. Custom settings. I'm assuming that there's a USB mode. That's what I'm basically looking for here. Jake, feel free to shout out if you know what I'm looking for, or if I don't need it. Maybe there is no USB mode in here. Maybe it's just like an auto sensing USB mode. I should probably scroll down in the comments so I can see if you say something. Oh, Peter Gregg's saying that it was Lexar that you had the problems with. Oh, well, there you go. That's too bad. Maybe that's why they shut their doors. I don't know. Okay, I'm not seeing a USB setting. So, all right, let me just plug it back in again and see what's going on here. That's plugged in. This is plugged in. It says, please wait. And then it goes back to shooting mode. What happens if I hit play on here? Again, excuse me, again, Jake, if you, it's just playing. Okay, what? Oh, it's charging. Okay, it's USB, it's charging. So it's definitely a USB setting in there. Oh, see, there's a reason that I would never use it, because I use mine, I plug my camera in. So you plug yours in to pull the memory cards off. I plug it in to charge, because I usually have the grip on here. So there's that. Jake says when you plug it in, PC transfer comes on screen. Yes, so there is, I believe, some setting I have to change in here. And this is super exciting for everybody. Oh, there we go, USB. USB mode, here we go. PC storage, PC tether, bridge. Or select on connection. Well, that's what it should have been. It should have been select on connection. Let me turn off USB power supply and see if that makes a difference. Curious. Very, very curious. Okay, please wait. I'm still not doing it. Huh. Wonder why that would be. That is interesting. Okay, I'm going to get out of select on connection, and I'm just going to go to PC storage, and let's try that. Please wait. It just doesn't seem to like it. Maybe the card's in wrong. I don't know. That is so weird. Pop that back in again. Last try, and then I'm giving this one up, because this is not good television. I can tell you that right now. All right, plugging that in. Please wait. Nope, still doing it. Very, very odd indeed. Okay, well that's, now I'm just really curious. I'm gonna try plugging it in on this computer, see if there's a difference. That is super, super weird. Super weird. Oh, okay, well now it's doing, now it says USB power supplied from the connected device, and it's mounted. Okay, so what's going on with my computer over there? All right, well now I have to fix it over there because I want to run this test. Okay, let me do this. Let me just like plug it into a different port, you know, because who knows? Because you just never know, do you? Okay. Plugging that in. It says, please wait, and same thing. Okay, it just doesn't like being plugged into my Mac Mini. It plugs in fine over here, so now I can't run the proper test for you. That is the weirdest thing. I'll reboot my Mac Mini, see if that makes any difference at all, and then try again. But that is super bizarre. Maybe I've like confused the USB bus with all that copies that I was doing. All right, let's see here. What else is going on? Shark says, enjoy, right, trackpad. Enjoyed watching it, thank you. Video being your specialty, but interested in the brand ProGrade. Awesome, wonder if recovery app works on other brands. Yeah, you'd have to check it out on their website, I don't know. Only thing you have X6 SanDisk cards in your camera bag. Well, you can always start buying ProGrade, because we always need more memory. APN TV, howdy buddy. I always write protect my cards before copying the data off. Okay, this fly, I can't believe, I don't think that fly ever came in during the show, but it was buzzing around me in rehearsal, and I was like, anyway, now it's really gonna bug me. Anyway, hate flies, disgusting creatures. I always write protect my cards before copying the data off. This is because computers, especially Macs, immediately write files onto the card when inserted, i.e. trashes in Spotlight. That is correct. That is correct. That is probably very good practice, frankly. I never do that, but that is probably very good practice. Anthony, were the files on the card shot on the S1 original firmware? They were all shot, no, the cards on the files on the cards. Oh, this card, maybe that's what you're talking about, because this card, that could be it. Because this card was formatted in the GH5, shot on the GH5, so maybe that's why it's acting up. That is a very, very good point. Okay, you could be correct, sir, in which case you win the golden banana. I am going to, do not ask what that is, I have no idea. I am going to try one more time, because it did mount on this computer, but if it doesn't, see, I can't, It's a different resolution file, so we're not going to get an equivalent file transfer if I just copy them over. Could copy them. I could format in there, copy to the card. Okay, all right, we're going to get this done. You feel free to leave if you guys are done, but I'm determined to get to the bottom of this. Okay, we're going to try one more time now that it's rebooted, and then you may have unlocked the key here. Let's unlock the door. You don't unlock a key, do you? Powering on. And what does this say? What does this say? Please wait. And then it goes back to, okay. So let's see if you're right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, put that there. This is the V60 card with the video from the GH5. I'm going to take an identical V60 card that is actually also clean formatted. This was my backup card sitting over there. Put that into the S1 and format it. Let me set my USB back to select on connection like it should be. And I want to format this card. Okay. Okay, so now I've got the S1 card. Finish, finish, finish. Okay. S1 card. We're going to use my dual reader here. And putting this one in the top slot. Don't let me forget it's in the top slot. Then I'm going to take the V60 card from the GH5, put that in the bottom slot. And before I do that, let's figure out which card is which here. So this, oops. Although I suppose it would be obvious because one would be empty, wouldn't it? Well, let's see here. We're going to need that other folder. Right now I'm popping in the GH5 card. Okay, GH5 card. And we're going to copy this over to there. So let's see if this works. So that'll take a few minutes to copy because yes, it will. Okay, so we'll let that copy and then we'll run the test. I think you could be onto something. Hopefully this is equivalent test. Have I got another S1 to test? I do not, Shark. I only have the one. Woe is me, right? I'd love to get my hands on an S1R, but. Bedouin 18, as for me, I'm trying to do my best to secure the film data before I have a chance to copy that to PC, and then the first thing I do is make another copy of the data. Then I'm calm. Yeah, it's stressful, isn't it? It is stressful when you've got critical data on one card, and you're like, okay, at this point, I have to copy. But that is one of the reasons that these cameras all have dual card slots. If it is that critical, you can write to 2 cards simultaneously, which can be a huge relief. Even though I've never needed it, knock wood, cross signs, slaughter goats, you know, the whole thing. Even though I've never needed it, whenever I shoot something really critical, I will put cards in both slots and write to both. It's just, you know, certainly good practice. I mean, you got the dual card slots. You may as well, right? It is one of the great advantages of having dual card slots. Which is awesome. Excuse me. Let's see if there's anything I missed on here earlier. Scroll back up through the comments in here. I'm just going to go back to the top, see if there's anything that I missed on here. Stream Pros saw that. 5 seconds of silence, saw that. Talking MacBook Pro back in the day. The trust of ProGrade, love them, love them. Also really good, just good company, good people behind the company. And the same, absolute same, said of the Angelbird folks. Totally different story. The Angelbird story is actually really, really cool. Wow, I'm going to totally mess this up. So I had lunch with the founder at an airport. We kind of ran into each other at the airport. It's one of those, like, that's crazy things. And in New York. And we had lunch, and he told me a bit of the story of the background. And they started off, his background has been music production, custom building rigs to keep more, and we're talking like probably 30 years ago, but custom building rigs to keep more sound files at real-time access. So building really, really fast disk arrays so that he could access his sound files instantaneously. And that progressed to these. Crazy story. It's really, really cool. All custom, all, you know, all internal design, whatever. Anyway, I'll maybe do an interview with him sometime on the air. It'd be kind of fun. Anyway, Peter Gregg, hello, hello. Still copying over there. You love the real-world tests? I think I got all these. I think I got all these. Peter Gregg talking about the Lexars that failed. Always write protected cards. We saw that. Here we go. Bedouin, unfortunately, the GH5 doesn't let us write dual cards in AVC HD mode. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I'm curious, why do you shoot AVC HD? The only reason that I had ever in the past recommended that somebody would shoot that is if they're doing something really long format, like a school play kind of a thing, and you're just shooting hours and hours, and you don't necessarily need the highest quality. AVC HD is harder to edit because of the way that the files are written. By harder, I mean takes more power. But I'm very curious to know why you do. Anthony, do I use a NAS? No. I have lots of drives. I have some that are, no. Like the closest thing to a NAS that I ever had was a USB drive plugged into an Apple Airport, and that was annoying for a lot of reasons, so now it's just plugged in locally, and I just access it from other systems over the network. But no, I do not have a true NAS setup. Ryan, also with SD cards in general, might be a good idea to do the secure format every once in a while. We talked about it in the very beginning of the show. Supposedly it helps with card errors. It helps with card errors. It cleans the card. It ensures that there's, it's a clean playing field. It's like raking the, I don't know. But yes, you are absolutely right. Excuse me, S1 can only write HEVC to QXD. Oh, that's interesting. Wait, really? No. S1 can only write HEVC to QXD. No, that can't be right. That can't be right. Let's see here. Okay, now, my test may not be totally legit for reasons that I cannot disclose, but let's see here. If I put this camera into, I really want to put this back into the movie, back into here. Okay, you don't need to see that copy happening anymore. You know that's, oh, we will later for the timing. Oh, we'll just change it back up. Okay, no, I can't do that. Sorry, I am here today and here all week. Actually, that's not true. I am just going to check. I'm not going to be able to show you what I'm doing, but I am going to check. Switching this into MP4/HEVC, and this is now in HEVC mode. And okay, I'm just going to pop a card in. I need a new card. Angel Word card, it's your turn. Copy's getting there. Still got a few minutes. Okay, let me reformat this card. Card format, card slot 2, formatted. Okay, so I've put the camera into the MPEG-4 HEVC mode, which means, yeah, MP4/HEVC, high efficiency video codec. That is what you said, right? Yes. And then it is in 4K, what is this? 4K 30p, 72 megabit, hybrid log gamma available. So let's go ahead and put it into hybrid log gamma, although it shouldn't actually matter at this point. Well, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to hit record. It's recording. It's recording. I don't know what you're doing, bud. Yep, it's recording. And now let's do this. I will, just to really do it, I will switch the color profile into, oh no, it already is in hybrid log gamma. That's right, it defaults to that. So yeah, hybrid log gamma, HEVC video shooting to the SD card. So not quite sure what's going on there, buddy. Let me know. You know how to reach me if you can't sort it out. All right, now let me put this back to the way it should be before I totally screw things up. Okay, all right. Oh, good, that copy's done. Okay, so now, top slot was the S1 card, yes? Yes. Okay, eject those, put this one back. That's the S1 formatted one. Pop this into the S1. Pop that into the S1. There's a card in there, I knew that. Can't see, there's no light coming from this angle, so it's all dark over here. All right, now USB-C to there, and power it on, and says please wait, and same thing. There's something about plugging the S1 into my Mac Mini that it just doesn't like. That is bizarre. I don't know what to tell you. That is so weird. Huh, okay, well that's great. Now I got something else to troubleshoot. Man, actually I really don't. I just, sorry, Jake. If you just get your hands on one of these. Go into you got a camera store. I know you have a camera store nearby that you shop at. Go into the camera store, bring your computer, bring your laptop. Oh, maybe you don't have a laptop. If you have a laptop, especially if it has USB-C, bring this in, plug it, get it, go borrow one of these, plug it in and see what the difference is. I'm pretty sure you're gonna see a difference. Pretty sure, but Alrighty. Shark says, Angelbird sounds great, but why is the Angelbird SSD Atom 10 SSD so expensive? Shame there's not a summer sale from Angelbird. Yeah, I don't know. New tech, I don't know. A quantity of things being produced. You know how it is. You only produce this many, you got to charge more. I don't really know, though. It's my guess. Ryan De La Torre, I've pretty much only ever recorded to MOV on the GH5, GH5S, which writes fine to both cards using 128 gig Angelbirds. There you go. Good. As it should. How many times can you format recycle a V90 before you would stop using it? Do they have a lifespan? Oh, that's an interesting question. I would say if you're ever having a performance issue, then do the clean formatting in the computer. But I mean, until like it refuses to format, I think you're good to use it. I don't know that they have like a hard drive that can only spin so many cycles before it poops out. But that's a question to ask ProGrade. If there is a mean time between failure rating on these things, I don't know. Interesting question, though. Jake saying HLG, hybrid log gamma. And I've shot stills in HLG. Not that I can do anything with them, but I've shot stills in HLG on the Inter. I don't even have any QXD cards, so I know it works. I know it works. Sorry, buddy. All right, here we go. Bedouin 18 says, AVCHG is tough to edit, but if you have a multicam and really limited hard drive space, it really helps. Fair enough. I render all that into low-res proxy and edit them easy. Okay, cool. So you're doing it. Did you tell me what it is you're shooting? I guess it doesn't really matter. But I'm curious what reason you would, yeah, that was your question. Okay, I am curious what kind of things you would shoot that you are shooting that long format. But at least it's long format stuff, so at least that's really the answer that matters. Let's see here. And Bedouin says, and I'm not really care of how much time my edit station is going to spend to render the final build. I just go to sleep. But of course, when I shoot some high budget commercials, yeah, of course. Of course. Use UHD 50p in both cards record mode. Both cards record mode. So you're, I guess I'm confused because I thought you were saying that you couldn't record to both. What you really want to do for super long recording times is go from one card to the next, right? It carries over from one to the next one. So then after card 1 fills up, it goes to card 2, then you can pull out card 1, pop in an empty one, and then when card 2 fills up, it goes back to card 1. And you can record essentially forever, as long as the camera doesn't run out of power. And if you plug an AC adapter into the camera, you can shoot forever. It's kind of cool. Last question, and then I gotta get out of here. Flip Ostrom says, what do you think about the Sony a7R IV? Do you think the 60 megapixel is nice and miss it on Lumix cameras, or do you get by with the G9 high res? Okay, so first up, I have not yet looked at any of the specs. That was announced this morning. I have been running mad all day doing this and something else, so I have not even looked into it. I did see on a tweet something about the 60 megapixel. Sure, man, 60 megapixels is nice. The S1R is 52 or something. The difference between 52 and 60 is like that much. So that's awesome. So I've got the S1. There's part of me that's more interested in the S1R than the S1 because of that super high resolution, well, because of that higher resolution mode. But of course, this has got all the video features coming, so that's why I've got this one. The high res mode, meaning where it stitches pictures together or does the sensor shifting thing, is fantastic. I mean, it's like crazy good, but you can't shoot with strobe on that. So that is the only limitation. I mean, the 24 megapixel or whatever it is on this camera that I get is plenty for everything that I do. And really the only time I've shot the high-res stitching thing is just for giggles, just to see how it turned out. I've never needed it in a production thing. But, you know, if I really needed that, I'd go to the S1R, and that would be awesome. 52 megapixels or whatever it is would be kind of cool. But, you know, it's great that they got 60. Good for them. That's cool. Love to see progress throughout the industry, for sure. Okay, fine, last question. And then I'm turning this off. I'm going to turn it off now so that I can justify skipping any other questions that come in. Anthony Benson, lots of Mac Minis on DIT carts. Please let us know what was the cause of using the S1 of the USB bridge. Great show as always. You're quite welcome. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the bottom of that because, honestly, I don't have any way to troubleshoot it other than I don't have a second Mac Mini. I don't have a second S1. And it worked fine on this. So I really don't know. But again, that is not how I would be shooting, how I'd be copying. I would highly recommend using the SD card readers. That is going to be my recommendation. And there we go. Shark says, go get some whiskey. That sounds like a damn fine idea. Any of you in Seattle? I'm going to be there. Message me. I've got a little bit of time. I'm going to be shooting some stuff, but I'll have a little time off. Okay, see you next time. Bye.